Once upon a time, two friends joined forces to bring you the best in horror entertainment. Brian from the north, Tim from the south, each bringing their own unique perspective to the horror community. Movie reviews, Blu-ray releases, beer pairings, games, and more. Welcome to your new home for horror. This is Civil Gore.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Civil Gore Podcast. I'm your host, Tim.
And this is Brian. I feel like we haven't recorded in a long time.
I know we've been on a weird schedule, but Brian has come up with this brilliant calendar that has got us all lined up for all of our recording sessions, all of our release dates, and I even put it on Twitter to hold us accountable today of what our plan is over the next couple months. So you should be seeing, as of this episode, you should be seeing weekly episodes dropping from here on out through the middle of September. So we have finally got everything in order and are back on track.
Yeah, due to a bunch of different scheduling things and travel, like I'm gonna be going away for a week, so we're basically we do it like for the Slaycation at least, we have the luxury of doubling up the episodes when we record it and just splitting it, which helps because that gives Tim extra time to edit, and it gives us that like break where we're not recording every week all the time, and gives us a little bit of wiggle room, and basically once again, we ended up with like a milestone episode in the middle of this Slaycation, which kind of causes a little bit of turmoil there, but
that'll be cool. Yeah, the 300th episode's coming up, and today we have a bunch of great Blu-rays that came out in July. Now, you might be wondering why our Discmemberment was a little late this week. It's because, or this month, but it's because July 2nd, the first week of July, actually had no horror releases whatsoever. There were some steelbooks. Walmart had its typical steelbook releases: Saw X, Diary of the Dead, The Meg, Cocaine Bear. Those came out last week for if you're a steelbook fan. But as far as new releases that we cover in depth, nothing came out. So we decided to just postpone the Discmemberment for the week of July 9th. So without further ado, let's get into our July Discmemberment.
Wait, no, please, God. No, don't come.
All right. So as I said, July 2nd, no horror releases. But July 9th, we have a few. And coming up first is from MVD Rewind, an edition of Ghoulies 2, 4K version from 1988. The operators of Satan's Den, a traveling spook house, find out they have picked up some unlikely hitchhikers when the ghoulies begin terrorizing the carnival goers at their most recent stop. The creatures are mad after an attempt to kill them, so the beasties go on a rampage through the fairgrounds, ultimately leading to an explosive conclusion. So, of course, this is a fun one if you haven't seen it in a while. I think I watched this for a horror challenge a couple years ago, I think, is the last time I saw it.
yeah, I haven't seen it in a long time, but I forgot all the carnival stuff. These between ghoulies and
too.
critters and munchies. I mean, all these different like 80s like little mini creature things. The only one that stands out are Gremlins, obviously 1 and 2, but the other ones all kind of blend in sometimes. I can't remember what's what, and I forgot that this one is very carnival heavy.
Yeah, definitely. This has 2 discs. Disc 1 is a 4K Blu-ray with a new 4K 16-bit restoration from the original camera negative. Includes both the 90-minute theatrical PG-13 cut and the restored 91-minute unrated R-rated cut of the film in 4K. Introduction by screenwriter Dennis Paoli. Original theatrical trailer, collectible 4K laser vision mini poster, reversible artwork with MVD Rewind Collection style and numbering on the reverse side. And then disc 2 is the regular Blu-ray with a 2K restoration from an interpositive of the theatrical version by MGM. That was done back in 2015. Has some featurettes here: More Toilets, More Terror, The Making of Ghoulies 2, Under a Magic Moon, interview with Dennis Paoli, deleted scenes, and a photo gallery.
So that's interesting. Is that the 4K version is the only one that has the extra cuts of this?
Yeah, that's what it appears to be.
Oh.
I may have sometimes when I do these extras, I remove anything that's redundant. So
I see. Okay.
May be on both. Yeah,
because that'd be a first. Usually they don't do that.
Yeah.
But next one is from Sony Pictures, which I actually, by the way, alert for anyone that had Sony rewards. That's another. First, it was Universal rewards ended, and now Sony rewards are ending. So if you had rewards points, for any of those Blu-ray purchases, people get on that and try and cash those in. I don't think I had many Sony rewards because I always would forget to add those in because I don't get that many. But Universal, I ended up with it was so funny because they basically just threw a bunch of movies out there when they knew it was ending. And I think I had something like 18,000 points, which got me about
Oh
I
wow.
I got me 18 digital copies of things. So I grabbed every horror one I
Oh
could
wow.
find on there and a couple of other like fun ones. So anyway, that is Sony Pictures. Again, like I said about with the rewards, but they're releasing the movie Tarot from 2024, and that's a group of college friends begin dying in ways connected to their fortunes after getting their horoscopes read. Yeah, Tim has heard great things. I haven't heard great things either. Plus, it feels like a lot of movies plots, where
Yeah.
that's like, oh, there's an app that warns you, or it's going to tell you when you're going to die, or here's an ominous card reading. I feel like these have been like done and overdone, but
Yeah.
I'd give it a chance. I don't know if I'd go out and purchase it, but I definitely give it a chance. It's got only a couple features too, so it's really not really much of a draw in on this Blu-ray. But they have a Twist of Fate, which is a making of the film, a Circle of Friends, and killer outtakes.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to see like the creature design of this one looked kind of cool. That's the only reason I wanted to see it. But yeah, it just looks like kind of a generic plot. Next up is one that I need to watch since I have an alligator in my backyard now.
Yeah, that's right.
Um, we had an alligator move into our pond. This one is not an alligator, though. It's a crocodile. This is from Synapse Films from 1979. Crocodile. A giant crocodile is killing and frightening people living nearby rivers. Two men whose wives and daughter have been killed by the crocodile decide to chase and eliminate it. I don't think I've seen this one. I thought I had, but I think I saw a different killer crocodile movie
Alligator
that was
came
around the
out.
same time period.
Yeah, I think Alligator came out around the same time. So I think
1980 was Alligator,
yeah.
80 or
So
81. Yeah.
I mean, back then it's not like we were young enough where we didn't really pay attention to like we wouldn't have known the difference of
Yeah.
a year. By the time we found out about the movie, it may have been something from cable or we might have saw a
Yeah.
commercial. So it's very easily confused, I'm sure. Like remember I thought when I watched Alligator, I thought I remembered a scene that wasn't in there. So maybe it was from Crocodile. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have to do
um,
one of the slaycations of just like creatures based things, like
yes, like animal movies. That'd be
yeah, and like
cool.
we could throw this in there. So it'd be a different type of slaycation where it's not so much franchises, but it could be just like
Yeah.
themed at least, because the
Or
slaycation
we
of
could
it.
do a month. We could
Oh,
do like
right.
a theme month.
That's
We could do
true.
that.
Because I mean, eventually
Like
at
we
some
did.
point the slaycations are going to run out where we have full franchises. So I guess
Yeah.
we might have to resort to that. But you're right. We could do like a creature month or something.
Killer Animal Month or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. This one has a 2K restoration of the film from the original camera negative, original theatrical trailer, audio commentary with writer and film historian Lee Gambin,
Uh,
who we all know.
yeah. Do I need to
Uh,
read him? He's the
he's
he's Eeyore when he's alone.
yeah, he's basically Eeyore when he teams up with John Harrison. They become two wild and crazy guys. Uh, Video interview with original Crocodile Fangs director Juan C. Lee and deleted and alternate scenes. I need to check that one out. I just watched Alligator again recently, or part of it. I didn't watch the full thing, but the kids started watching it, and I was kind of checking in on it from time to time
Yeah,
because I love that movie.
yeah, I need to buy this one because I do have Alligator 1 and 2. Like I got those special editions, so I kind of need like the whole like gator
Yeah,
dial thing.
Gator,
Yeah.
Gatorverse.
Yeah, we need to have them combined. Oh, next one's my pick of the week, so I got to skip past that. Release number 6 of the week, technically, but it's probably it's 3 or 4 for us, I guess. Mill Creek Entertainment, which Deer Camp 86 from 2022. This definitely looks like it would have been filmed in the 80s, the way they're going for that style, although it still looks a little too modern. But anyway, in the fall of 1986, 6 knuckleheads from Detroit traveled north to partake in the annual tradition of deer hunting. But something horrific has been awakened, and the hunters become the hunted. It looks like it'd be fun, though.
It looks like a fun horror comedy. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh, I'm glad you got this
Next,
one because I wouldn't even be able to say this word, and I feel like this is something you've learned.
this looks German. Yeah.
Yeah.
Massacre Video, Ostermontag,
Yeah.
which I'm thinking that is easy. I think that to me that translates as Easter Monday, but I don't know if that's Ken's probably screaming.
Yeah, I think we need to like go through these, and like when we see something like this, let's like pre-ready ourselves and like bring Ken in just to read this one
For
thing.
translation.
Yeah.
This was from 1993. A twisted tale of obsession and mistaken identity unravels with shocking consequences. Heiko, consumed by his unreciprocated love for one of his stepsisters, is unknowingly entangled with her twin Nicole in a deadly game of deception. His growing confusion and frustration lead to a catastrophic error, the accidental murder of the wrong sister. Whoops.
That's going to be a fun family reunion.
Years later, Heiko, haunted by his past, lures who believes to be Nicole under false pretenses, igniting a chain of violent and grotesque events of staggering proportions. We couldn't even find a trailer for this one, so I don't know anything about it other than what I just read.
But that's yeah. I mean, we always have the running joke that like all German films are like sad and depressed. This one is like might be beyond that. I don't even know what kind of feelings you'll get out of this one. I mean, you got like a lot of weird stuff going on, but maybe we'll just assign this to Ken to watch and he can report back.
There you go.
That's what we'll do. He needs to live up to his Civil War duties here. He can check that for us. Next one. Oh, this might be a new.
This is a new publisher. Yeah.
Rustblade. Never heard of this. And this movie is Dream
Time. Kind of like
Time.
Sling Blade.
Yeah, I know. Like, Tim's got some potatoes.
Like some of that Dream Time.
Yeah, I was driving my poor mother-in-law the other day because she was making potatoes, and I was saying, "Oh, make us some potatoes," and she did not see Sling Blade, so that was just one of my other annoying things I do around the house. Apparently,
I always like to say when he says, "I reckon I'll have some of the big ones."
Yeah. We should just do one whole episode talking like him. That'll finish the rest of the audience off.
I was obsessed with that movie when it came out. I watched it probably 5 or 6 times.
It's crazy. It put him on the map, but he's been like, I think he's acted before that, right, Bob Thornton?
Oh yeah, he was in a lot of stuff before.
Yeah, but it seems like that put him out there,
Yeah.
But anyway, he's not in this movie, by the way, in case you're wondering. But it's Dream Time, Il Tempo del Sogno. I almost said Songo, but it's Sogno or Sogno. Probably
probably Sonyo.
Yeah, Sonyo. I can't say it right. But anyway, it's Dreamtime is a docu-film that will take you back to the golden age of Italian horror cinema in the 80s and 90s, featuring interviews with the protagonists who marked that wonderful period. You can't really tell what's going on in this trailer, but it looks kind of creepy. But now I guess that I realize it's probably not one movie. Makes a little more sense.
Yeah, I think this is a documentary on Italian horror, which I'd love to see this.
Yeah,
about that stuff.
But if you watch the trailer makes no sense, but it makes sense now that we know it's like taking pieces of a whole bunch of movies from like 2 decades.
The trailer was just showing clips of random movies that it like tied together, but it never mentioned that it was actually a documentary. So
yeah,
I don't know what was up with the trailer.
Which, thank God, now makes that it clears things up. That it wasn't just that it was in another language why it was confusing, because now it makes all sense. Okay.
All right. Next up is my pick of the week, and this is one I went to see in the theater with the kids. We had a blast. I absolutely loved it.
Even for some chainsaw nods, even.
Up for some chainsaw nods. I will say I wish I had never watched the trailer going in, but it still did not ruin the movie for me. This is Universal Studios' Abigail that came out this year.
Catherine Newton films cannot be ruined. I'm convinced.
No. And I voted for the little girl's Alicia. I think it's Alicia Weir or Weir. I don't know if I'm.
You already voted? I can't vote yet because I still need to see a couple, and I need to mull on some because there are some that I am just like, and we'll probably do a chainsaw preview show again or something about that more later. More detailed later. But I will say this: thank God that I'm going to butcher her name, so I'm not going to say it. But the woman that did the first Omen got nominated, which.
Oh yeah,
well deserved.
She got skipped. Yeah.
Oh, thank God! I'm glad she got nominated in there. And I right now she might be my odds-on favorite just because of what a good movie that was and what a surprise. And that got some nods, First Omen. So that's like it's not just us that liked it. It's the more I think about it, the more I like it.
It had a lot of nods. I went through and did a first pass vote. I'll probably vote again because I don't think it took my. I don't think
it didn't work.
Registered because when I got to the end, it just took me back to the beginning. So I don't know if it even counted them. So I might try it again.
Yeah, and there's a new category this year. One that's near and dear to us, but like I feel like one is not even fair that it made it in there so fast. Like Killer Clowns game, it just came out. Like games like
Yeah.
that need some time to really brew, and they basically gave us like 12 days now to decide. And I haven't even tried that game yet, and I don't think I don't even know with my travel I'll be able to try that before we go. So, and although I will say Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the last round we played was incredibly fun because we could not kill
Yes,
that
it
one
was.
person. And that the funniest was poor Ken is like waiting for us to finish that round. And Yumi and Cone were sitting there like just struggling to get that like one last guy that kept
For like
not dying.
20 or 30 minutes, Ken's waiting on us to play, and we're trying to kill this last guy.
Yeah.
I we weren't no Leatherface wasn't in there. I think I was the hitchhiker,
Yeah, I was the girl that
and so
sings, Sissy. I was like
you were
the one
the
that
sissy.
Christina Klebe plays, which I love. She just sings songs the whole time, which anyone knows me playing video games, I'll just randomly start singing songs, usually with Cone's name in it. But that time I didn't
Yeah,
need to because she was singing for me.
yeah. It was an epic match. We'll have to talk about that one at some point.
Yeah,
The
I
Texas Chainsaw
basically,
Massacre is a great game.
yeah, I will say that renewed my faith in that game because that last round was fun, and I'm like, I think once we learn the map,
Yeah,
I
once
think
you
we'll
learn
be
the
a
map,
lot better. The problem is I think we're still all kind of green to it, so we didn't know the map. We don't know like all the little nuances, and there is no map, so you can't like pull up a map like you can on Friday the 13th. You're just kind of on your own. So I think once we figure
yeah,
that out, we'll be able to like Tim and I basically trapped this guy, and he was going between Tim and I. Like he would go in, Tim would beat him up. He'd come out to me, I'd beat him up, but he would not die. He had some kind of replenishment he kept doing, and we could not get
yeah.
him. Finally, Tim got him to a point where he was so wounded he couldn't do anything, but that was something.
It was fun, but
Yeah.
anyway, so that was a roundabout way of saying I voted for Alicia Weir for the support best
I'm
supporting
sorry, we went off
actor
topic for a change. Yeah.
because I thought she was fantastic in this. For a child actor, she was incredible. So this one's after a group of criminals kidnap the ballerina daughter of a powerful underworld figure. They retreat to an isolated mansion, unaware that they are locked inside with no normal little girl. This one has some special features: deleted and extended scenes, gag reel, bloodbath. Soak up the slaughter alongside the cast and crew with this dive into the deep end of Abigail's body pits, where practical effects reign supreme and there's no such thing as too much blood.
I
Hunters to
agree.
hunted. Get up Get up close and personal with Abigail's abductors as the cast divulges the details behind how they got into character to collectively create a unique crew of criminals. Becoming a ballerina vampire, Abigail actor Alicia Weir, choreographer Belinda Murphy, and more members of the creative team take up the task of transforming a seemingly sweet little girl into a vicious vampire. Directing duo Matt and Tyler. Directors Matt Bettinelli Olpen and Tyler Gillette lead this look at the actors' ideas and environment they put together to create a set that's fun while still being fearsome, and a feature commentary with directors Matt Bettinelli Olpen and Tyler Gillette and editor Michael P. Schauer.
Now, they did Ready or Not, right? That's the duo behind Ready or Not.
I think so, yeah.
Because I heard some comparisons to those that like that same kind of like fun horror like element, like over the top gore and crazy situations
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing like that. So I think that's like whenever I hear that, like I mean, I especially because I loved Ready or Not. So like and Tim and I still want to play Bale's Gambit or whatever that one is called. Yeah, it was them, by the way. I confirmed it. So there was them doing that. Um, so yeah, I was always looking forward to those, and I just never got a chance. It didn't last in the theaters very long out here, I feel. So, but I ordered it. It'll be here, I think, either Tuesday or Wednesday. So it'll be perfect because it comes with a digital copy. I'll be able to load it on my iPad for my trip, and
Oh,
I
you're
will.
gonna love it.
Yeah,
You're
as I
gonna love
almost
it.
knocked my
It's
desk over. Uh,
it's the whole cast is so good. It's got that one guy, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he was also in The Strain, the series The Strain,
oh, okay,
which was
okay.
also about vampires, and I love him. And he plays kind of the same. He always plays like a tough guy, so he was perfect for that role. It's
Nice.
got just so many good actors in it. It's incredible. I
Yeah,
love
well,
it.
you all you gotta do is put Catherine Newton in it, and I'm already on
Yeah.
board. So yeah, so next one for my pick of the week, we differed today on this one. This one, it was like usually historically, if I've already ordered it, I'll make that the pick of the week. But this one movie, because I've never heard of it, and it blew me away. I think it's got two different titles. That's why. So I may have heard of the other title, but I didn't know what this movie contained. And that is Cauldron Films is releasing Off Balance from 1988. And it's in Italy, a pianist suffering from the progeria genetic disease, which explains that little swing scene. Uh,
Yeah.
becomes distraught and goes on a mad killing spree, prompting a police inspector to investigate. I never heard, like I said before, I never heard of this, but I need to see it right away because it has Donald Pleasance, Michael York, some ninjas, a creepy old man kid, which is I guess that Progeria character, and like on a swing. So it's totally like a Stefan film, like
Yeah.
it's got
That's
everything.
everything.
Yeah, so I definitely want to see this. It's got an exclusive 2K restoration from the original camera negative. An uncommon director, an interview with Ruggero Deodato, one of the final interviews with the controversial director, filmed in July 2022. So that's pretty cool. It's
Oh,
recent.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's got audio commentary with film historians, one of our favorites of modern day. Eugenio Ercolani, of course, is a lesser known Italian version, an alter ego of Steve Urkel, and is "Did I do with that?" Is his catchphrase, of course. And then he's with Troy Howarth again. They seem to be teaming up a lot.
Yeah,
I'm
he
glad they can
is.
find common ground because he's a posh Englishman and he's a Italian Urkel. So that's interesting though. But they get together and they do a commentary. It also does have English and Italian trailers, so that's
Very
good.
nice.
It's got something for both of them.
So, to recap the week of July 9th, we had Ghoulies 2 4K from 1988, Tarot from 2024, Crocodile from 1979, Deer Camp 86 from 2022, Ostermontag from 1993, Dreamtime Il Tempo del Sogno from 2023. My pick of the week was Abigail from 2024, and Brian's pick of the week, Off Balance from 1988. Brings us to July 16th, another very short week. Only one release this week. Of course, it was our default pick of the week.
Yes.
And this was Shout Factory Phantoms. And what do we say about Phantoms?
Affleck was the bomb in Phantoms, yo.
Of course.
You gotta
I
say that.
could. That's the first thing I thought when I saw this.
Yeah.
This was, of course, from 1998. It's based off a Dean Koontz book. And I used to read everything Dean Koontz came out with back in the 90s. I read all this. So I read Phantoms long before the movie came out.
You saying
In the
that gave me an idea, Tim. For ever those episodes, like how you did, like Tim graciously filled in last week to give us some kind of thing while I was away, where he gave the his little Night of the Living was it Night of the Living Dead review,
My
right?
Living
Yeah.
Dead board game, yeah.
You should because you're such a history of reading authors. You could do like a little author expose, like mini-sode,
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I
I could
always love
definitely
to
do that.
hear the story when you go because so many times you'll be like, oh, I read this guy and this guy's no, and was not a big reader, but Tim was, so it actually that'd probably be a really cool little like mini-sode to throw in there.
Yeah, that would be fun. That's a good idea. So the description, if you haven't seen it, is haven't seen this Ben Affleck masterpiece.
Yeah.
In the peaceful town of Snowfield, Colorado, something evil has wiped out the community, and now it's up to a group of people to stop it or at least get out of Snowfield alive. And this one has a 4K scan from the original camera negative, approved by director Joe Chappelle. Chapel? What is I don't know.
I've heard it said both ways, honestly.
Yeah. Terror from Below, Making Phantoms, an interview with producer-writer Joel Swason. Chaos in the Flesh, Filming Phantoms, an interview with director of photography Richard Clayball, and trailer and TV spot, and of course, plenty of Ben Affleck to go around.
Yes. And of course that line was from Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back, if you
Yes,
didn't
yeah.
know where that line came from, which basically if you're a Ben Affleck fan, you got to watch all the Kevin Smith movies.
Yeah, exactly. All right, that was it for July 16th, just Phantoms. So get
Yes.
your Affleck fix in. July 23rd has a few more releases. This one starts off with our pick of the week, so I'm going to pass on that one. Brian, I'll let you take the next one.
Okay, and it's my iPad decided to go slow there. Okay, we fixed it. It is Kino Lorber is releasing Cannibal Apocalypse from 1980. Okay, and sit back, get a beverage because it's one of these like descriptions that I feel like is going to give the whole movie away. But it says it starts off in Vietnam where Norman Hopper gets bitten by POW Charlie Bukowski, who has been infected with some sort of cannibal virus. A few decades later in Atlanta, Georgia. Oh, I see. The way it was spaced so far away, I thought it was a new sentence. A few decades later in Atlanta, Georgia, Hopper wakes up from a nightmare flashback of what actually happened back in Nam. And it does say Nam exactly in that way. Hopper then receives a call from Bukowski asking him if he wants to go out for a drink, but Hopper refuses, remembering the incident in Nam. Bukowski has turned into a cannibal and is soon on. Wait, so he was a cannibal but he wants to go out for a drink? Wouldn't you go out for like a meal? You would say?
But
I don't know.
he's turned into a cannibal, but he's evidently alive decades later for this
Yeah,
one.
well, I mean, I guess cannibal doesn't necessarily mean zombie. I mean, I think
I
we're
guess,
saying
yeah.
that, but in this, I take it that they just like meat. Um, I don't know if they actually are like they're not like the undead. They're just cannibals, I guess.
But somehow he was like killing people this whole time, apparently, right? Because he had
Yeah, this
the
trailer
cannibal
is very
thirst.
was a long trailer and it kind of gave a lot
Yes.
in there. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, but he's turned into a cannibal and is soon on the run after biting into a woman's neck. He barricades himself in the department store and shoots some folks with a shotgun. The cannibal virus spreads, and soon Hopper joins veterans Bukowski and Tom Thompson along with some others to wreak some havoc.
Oh,
Uh,
wreaking havoc. We love wreaking
yeah, I love
havoc.
those buzz phrases. And then it's funny too because John Saxon is like he's taking on a city filled with cannibals, so automatically it can count me in on that part.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I thought it was. I thought this was going to be like Cannibal Ferox or one of
yeah,
those films, like in the jungle with cannibals. Like they made all those movies back in the late '70s, and I was like, the trailer started. I thought I would click the wrong trailer because it was all in the city, and I was like, "What is this? Like this isn't a cannibal movie."
yeah, it's
But
like cannibals
apparently
take
it is.
Manhattan kind of thing. But although I don't know if it's Manhattan, I don't know what city it is, but yeah. Um, but anyway, yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, okay. I thought this was because I could have sworn Cannibal Apocalypse was in that little Cannibal Ferox, Cannibal
Yeah,
Underground, all those like ones, you know. But I guess it's
yeah.
a total other. I guess cannibals don't have to always live in the rural areas and jungles of
They
different
could branch
countries. I
out.
mean, yeah, I mean, this guy seemed like I mean, if you think about it, it's smart. If you are a cannibal, living in a city gives you way more options, you know?
Definitely,
You know, a
definitely.
lot they
Yeah.
maybe it wouldn't even shock me if New York had a cannibal restaurant actually where, you know, they just serve people. It wouldn't shock me. But anyway, this one it's a 4K Blu-ray, so it's a 2020 UHD SDR master by Studio Canal from a 4K scan of the 35 millimeter original camera negative. I don't even know if there's a movie in there. That was a lot of numbers.
Yeah.
What if it's just like the time code you get out of that? I don't know. It's got an audio commentary by novelist now and critic Tim Lucas. So he's not a critic. He's not a historian anymore, but he calls himself a novelist now, not just an
Yes,
author.
he's too good for film historian,
Yes,
apparently.
or just being an author like Stephen Thrower. He wanted to one up him and become a novelist. Um, the Disc 2 Blu-ray is a Cannibal Apocalypse redo, documentary with actors John Saxon and Giovanni Lombardo Radice probably, and director Antonio Margheriti. That's like from
Antonio Margheriti, we
Margheriti.
love
Yeah.
him.
See,
Oh, I love
you
him.
know that was intentional because Tarantino is way too much of a film historian himself to not have used that purposely in
Yes,
Inglorious Bastards. Uh,
yes.
we still got to do that. Like that should be almost like if we ever do our Patreon. I think like a side little bonus, like once a month Tarantino podcast. Like,
Oh my gosh, that was so much fun.
yeah,
I would
especially
love it.
because we'd probably get just quote like Inglorious Bastards 90% of the time. Anyway,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
but anyway, it's got Cannibal King interview with actor Tony King. Oh, so I guess he's. Oh, look, I get the funny there. Apocalypse in the streets, and a zombie in the sheets. I don't know. Apocalypse in the streets. Video tour of filming location. Oh, there you go. So that'll answer a lot of our questions. An alternate U.S. opening sequence. A European theatrical trailer. A Japanese teaser. Why is like each country gets less and less of what you get out of there? It's
Yeah.
kind of weird. Limited edition reversible art and O card slipcase.
All
That could have
right.
been
Well,
a
if you
pick of the
need
week,
more,
honestly. That just seems like a
it
fun release.
it does look fun.
But I couldn't do it. I'll tell you why. Actually, spoiler alert. I didn't do it because of the next movie. It blends in with my comment, so I couldn't break it up, or it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, let's just say John Saxon has been getting around.
Yeah, he's got his
This
theme.
is a
Yeah.
Kino Lorber's Nightmare Beach from 1989. Diablo is a biker gang leader executed for the murder of a young woman. A year after his death, it's time for spring break. Football players Skip and Ronnie head to the beach, where Skip meets Gail, the sister of the woman who was murdered a year ago. All the fun and glory of spring break, however, is about to turn into a living nightmare when a mysterious person in a biker outfit begins to kill people by electrocution. Could it be that Diablo has returned from the dead?
Diablo. What a
Yeah,
cool gang leader name, Diablo.
Diablo. Yeah, in the 80s, the entire world was saved by John Saxon, and
It
we are
really
now
was. I mean,
convinced.
think about it. He battled Freddy Krueger. He battled cannibals in the city, and now he's battling an undead biker gang leader named Diablo. I
We
mean,
don't know how lucky we were that he was around in the 80s to save us.
yeah. I mean, I would have
Yeah.
we need to look through this whole Saxon verse and see where
Yes.
what his whole thing
Uh,
is here.
I love Saxon violence. Like
Yeah, Saxon violence is great. You know, it's
Saxon
like,
violence.
yeah,
If we do a podcast, it'll be called Saxon
oh my
Violence.
God,
It'll be all about John.
oh, what a missed opportunity that is. Oh, that's a
So,
slaycation on its own. Oh my God.
Disc One is a 4K Blu-ray, 2019 UHD SDR master by Studio Canal from a 4K scan of the 35mm original camera negative.
Yeah, there's that whole
Nerds.
thing again.
Oh my God. Audio commentary by film historian Sam. Oh my God, I always mispronounce his name. Deegan?
Well,
Is it
considering
Deegan
it's
or Deegan?
well, the fact that you said you can't pronounce his name blends right into our description, which was recently discovered to be a woman. And I made that mistake the
Sorry.
last time. Yeah, poor Sam Deegan. She
Oh
just
my God.
gets a raw deal, but her second M, because it's SAMM. It says the second M stands for mime. Movies represented solely by, and she does the movie represented solely by physical representation inside a glass box when she does this historian thing. So she's like that, like, oh, that's so
Oh,
we are
okay.
so gonna
I
get
don't, I
canceled.
remember. I know.
But
God
but
knows.
anyway, but the funny thing is, so when she does, though, introduce herself, she always says, "Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Sam with two M's," and she holds up two fingers to illustrate. Once again, can't get that mime out of her. You can take the girl out of the mime, but you can't take the mime out of the girl. I guess. She holds up two fingers to illustrate. When she teams up with Kat Ellinger, though, the second M stands for magical.
Ah, okay. That makes sense why she teams up with a
I
cat
know
then.
I swear to God, I feel like we have like this whole WWE universe of film historians. Like, we have tag teams in there. We have like
Oh my God.
like factions where like the Stygian witches. Imagine that, like entering the ring at a combined weight of 600 pounds, the Stygian witches. I could just see
it
that.
makes it makes no sense. Like people who just tuned
Yeah,
in who have not heard our former dismembers are probably like, "What the hell are you guys talking about?"
yeah.
But
No, this is
we
the
have a
one.
whole.
Yeah, this is the one
It,
drawback to not having the website anymore, because we could have had this explained.
yeah, yes, we could have had this explained, but it's a long running inside joke,
Yeah.
the film historian thing.
I think in
Just
Cody's
to
tome, I assume it will have a nice long introduction to the explanation of that.
yes, oh God, we'll have to. It'll be like a
Yeah.
whole chapter just to explain this.
Yeah.
Disc 2 is a Blu-ray with Nightmare Rock,
Uh,
interview with composer Claudio Simonetti, theatrical trailer, and limited edition reversible art and O-card slipcase.
okay, Unearthed Films now is back. They've been coming on strong lately. I feel like each month we've had an Unearthed film. This one is Confessions of a Serial Killer, which I thought for a second was just like Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, but no, this is not a portrait. This is a confession.
And by the way, don't be put off by the wildly terrible box cover for this, because what they did is when this came out on video, they put this guy in a Hannibal Lecter mask, I think to capitalize off Silence of the Lambs. And so it's a terrible cover art. But I think the movie
Uh,
is probably better than the cover art
I would think so. The
because it
trailer
has
didn't look bad.
no, it looked actually kind of creepy to me.
Yeah, yeah. So this one, it says it's Confession of a Serial Killer is a thinly veiled account of the life and crimes of Henry Lee Lucas, who confessed to killing over 200 women. So oh wait, so this is the same Henry that is in Portrait of a Serial Killer. Then it's just a different take on
Same
it.
guy, yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
So it's not like connected like a sequel or prequel, right? This is just another
yeah. Yeah, it's
independent.
just
Okay,
another thing about the same real
gotcha.
serial killer. Yeah.
Okay, well, it's got some decent features here. It's got audio commentary with director John Mark Blair Dwyer. Why is Mark Blair in quotes? Does he just have a total other identity sometimes? I don't,
That's his second name.
yeah, that's so weird. It's like, well, I guess when he does a movie he doesn't like, he'll be direct. It's like Alan Smithy. He'll be directed by Mark Blair. Yeah. Director of photography Leighton Blaylock, which sounds like a point guard out of Duke, doesn't it?
It
And
does.
and actor Sidney Brammer. The Henry Lee Lucas story. I had a friend named Henry Lee growing up. That's kind of funny. I just never caught that correlation, but he didn't have the Lucas. But he did like Star Wars, so go figure. I don't know. Anyway, Henry Lee Lucas story by author and TV news correspondent James Moore. Rondo and Bob's full-length documentary on Robert A. Burns and actor Rondo Hatton. A Polaroid gallery, promotional gallery, and trailer.
Nice. I kind of want to see this. It looks kind of like gritty. You
It
know, it looks
does.
kind of weird.
Yeah,
people.
it does look.
Uh,
It looks like something like you're right. It's deserving of better box art.
yeah. Next up from Lionsgate Films, we have The Strangers Chapter 1 4K from this year. A young couple drive cross country towards a new beginning. Unfortunately, they have no choice but to stop in a secluded Airbnb in Oregon and endure a night of terror against three masked strangers. This is another one that I don't know why they remade this. I don't understand the
Fast.
whole trilogy
Yeah.
thing. I still want to see it because I love the first two Strangers movies, but I am very puzzled as to why this was even a thing.
I mean, the
Um,
trailer looks good. It doesn't look bad.
it does look good, yeah.
But like again, it's like
But
we just got the. It's not like it was like 20 years ago we got the original one. Like, well, I don't know what the
no.
point of the remake so fast was.
And the first one was good. Like
It
it was really
was.
good. Like
Yeah, I
there
even
was
like the
no
second one, honestly. I like both the
yeah.
original ones. So
Yeah. I don't know. It's very strange.
yeah,
This one has audio commentary with producer Courtney Solomon and actress Madeline Petch, reimagining a classic, Making the Strangers Chapter 1. I don't know why you're reimagining it like
yeah,
10
it's a
years.
classic,
It's
and
been
leave it
more than 10
alone.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah. A hostile environment, the visual design of The Strangers Chapter 1, and theatrical trailer. My only hope is that if the next two come out, which I'm hoping they make them, I don't know how well this one did, that somehow it'll explain why they had to remake this
Well,
one.
I think they
Maybe. I don't
filmed
know.
all three, or right? Didn't they film at
Okay.
least? I think they filmed them at least one and two at the same time. I thought I remember that. I could be wrong. If
Okay. Well, that's good then.
someone could
Yeah.
correct me on that if they did. I thought I remember them saying, "Oh, we filmed like the one and two together at least." Well, and also like you could have gone with. Obviously, there's a story to these people beforehand, and neither the original two or this one, I guess, unless maybe the second one goes back and tells the
Maybe
prequel
it's a
to it.
prequel. Maybe.
Unless they're
Yeah.
saving that for, like, another thing, but, like, you go to chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, you expect the story to continue maybe, but who knows? They're kinda mum on it, so,
Yeah.
yeah, personally, I would love to know, like you said, like, too, like, why, I feel like the first 2 movies, the original 2 kind of at least advanced slightly on the other one, but it kinda ended where I don't know if you can go much further from that thing, but they could have gone back to do a prequel. So I don't know. Maybe this will turn out to be some weird same universe twist thing or something. Who knows? I
Yeah.
guess we'll
I don't
see.
know.
I mean, I'm gonna watch it. I'm not gonna.
I'll
I
watch it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna watch it when it comes to. I don't know if I'll purchase the thing, the deep Blu-ray quite yet, but I may just. I'm definitely gonna watch it when it comes to a streaming service. Next one, Paramount, is The Runes, unrated, from 2008. A bright sun, warm waters, and sandy beaches beckon countless tourists every year, particularly young adults seeking inexpensive fun. Enter Amy and Stacy, two best friends who bring along their very different boyfriends. I'd hope they're different. If they're the same boyfriend, then that's a whole nother movie. Uh, Focus med student Jeff and free spirited partier Eric. As the group's vacation nears its end, they journey into the lush Mexican jungle in hopes of seeing some ancient Mayan ruins. But when they arrive at the magnificent site, an unexpected event drives the frightened travelers to the top of the crumbling stone structure where they confront hidden deadly horrors and engage in brutal battle for survival. Now, Tim, I noticed you said that you read the book, and that's better. From what I've heard consistently, is people that read the book first did not like the movie, but people who didn't read the book and watched the movie thought the movie was good. So
I
I didn't
actually,
read the book, so I thought the movie was
yeah,
okay. So
I I thought the movie was okay. I didn't dislike the movie at
yeah.
all. I have not seen the unrated version. But I really loved the book. When the book came out, it was very heavily hyped, and so hyped, in fact, that I went out and bought the hardcover, which is something I almost never do. Like I
Oh,
always
wow,
wait for
okay.
paperback. And this book was so hyped, and it was such a like standout in terms of horror that I had to go get it. So I went and actually bought. I still have it somewhere. I don't know what I did with it, but so I went out. Yeah, I bought the hardcover and absolutely loved it. So when the movie came out, I was really excited. I was a little disappointed in the movie, but I wouldn't say I disliked it. I enjoyed it, but the book is definitely way better.
Now, do you
So
think like
go read it.
think when this came out too, like it was around that time when like Turistas and Hostel and all those like
Yeah,
vacation horror movies kind of came out. So I'm wondering if that kind of took away its originality because I feel like the book like I don't think there were books on obviously not on Hostel and there were no books and there were no books on I don't think Turistas. I think those were all just movies. So like I'm wondering if this one kind of suffered from when it happened to come out like with all the other ones. So it kind of got depending on which order you saw it in or which way you saw it, or you might have just thought, "Oh,
yeah.
another vacation horror movie," you know?
Possibly. The book is by Scott Smith if you guys want to look it up. But I felt like the book was a better format to get across, like, without giving any spoilers if you guys haven't seen it, but to get across the threat that's in the ruins. I felt like the book was a better medium to convey that than a movie. It's really hard to film what it was,
Yeah.
what it was,
Well,
what
and
it
it
was. So,
yeah,
uh,
it's kind of funny too because all those vacation horror movies, I feel like the majority of them always kind of have that same premise of, oh, let me show you something that most people don't get to see on their trip. Like whenever someone tells me that, I'm like, I don't think I'm going to pass.
yes,
It's
I've
like that
seen too
just
many
doesn't sound
movies.
like an idea. There's a reason why nobody sees it. It's like I don't
Yeah,
like it's just like it's like one of those like frustrating but like fun horror tropes at the same time. Because you're as a watcher, you're just like, oh, like here it is. These stupid people, they're gonna fall for that. And then you get your movie and you enjoy it and whatever. But like I feel like if that was real life, so few people would make that decision at this point.
here's the thing that all these movies are so unrealistic. Like college kids don't have the kind of, at least the college kids I hung out with didn't have the kind of money to go on trips to Mexico and Mayan, go
Yeah.
visit Mayan ruins. We had no money, dude. I was eating tortillas with cheese on them
I
for
know,
lunch and dinner.
like I was eating ramen and like an out like a fun outing during college was like pizza, like going
I
to eat
know.
at a pizza place, not ordering the student
Like,
special in,
yeah, like see all these movies and there's like, like 6 20-year-olds going out to like, oh, we're going to Las Vegas, or we're going to, oh, we're
Yeah,
going to just go to Bosnia for I'm like, what, like who the hell's that kind of money when they're paying for college? I don't know.
yeah,
I was lucky to get off campus,
yeah.
much less go
Like
to
I
another country.
Yeah, like I remember the one trip like we took when I was in college, my group of friends, we went down to, when we were in San Francisco State, so we went to Disneyland and Universal. And even that was pricey, but not as pricey as it is now. Like now that's
Yeah,
unaffordable for a student to do. But back then
yeah,
I think you can get deals like I think if you had someone that knew Orange County, you could get the discount and it was like they weren't as big on it. So it's like you can get like I think it was like a $80 to go to Disney and like Universal, I think we was much cheaper back then. Universal was not the prices it was then back then. Like I remember when I was a kid, like it was $1 to park at Universal, and it's like, it's so back then it was probably still pricey. And so, but like we didn't eat anything fancy. I think we did. Well, actually, no, I take that back. I think we did eat at the Blue Bayou on that trip as like one splurge, but the rest of the meals were like packed like food for the cars. Like we didn't stop and eat.
yeah,
We found ways to make it affordable. And we stayed like I think the first night we stayed at one of our friends' house, and I think their parents, her parents, I think owned like managed a grocery store, so we had like a full on breakfast and snacks and stuff. So we saved money where we could. But even then, I remember I think I like had to borrow money like to go on that trip because I'm like I wasn't
yeah.
working at
I
that point
will.
of college, so
Did did I tell the story on the podcast about our weekend trip to Disney when I
I
was
don't
in
think
college?
so. No.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if I should tell it now or if I should just, but okay, I'll try to do the quick version. So we decided, me, my friend Rob, and our friend Siobhan decided, hey, we're bored this weekend. Let's just go to Disney World. Let's just drive to Disney World. We had no money, no place to stay, no
Mm,
tickets. We just decided to go down there and wing it, which
you could
is
do that back then.
stupid.
You can't do that for
You
Disney
could,
now.
yeah. Stupid college guy stuff. So we found this like cheap ass Motel 8 that was right outside that we could stay in. So we booked that. We head down there in his car, which was a little tiny Ford Fiesta, which was about to fall apart at any minute. And we start driving to Florida like a bunch of idiots. So we get down there, we get to the hotel. It's like like it's terrible. It's a terrible hotel, but it's all we can afford. So now we got to try to find tickets to Disney. We have no clue. Like we're not going to just drive up to the gate and get tickets. We're like, we
There
got
was
to
no
find a
internet
discount
back
ticket.
then, really, right? Like
No, no internet. There was
yeah,
no real internet.
yeah.
No cell phones. Nothing. So we get down there and we go up to one of these little tourist stands that's in like the hotel parking lot. It has like discount Disney tickets or whatever. So we go up there, and the lady probably saw that we had no clue what we were doing. We're like, what's the cheapest way we can get into Disney World? And we're thinking like maybe one day in Magic Kingdom is all we're going to do.
Yeah.
And so she's like, well, here it is. She's like showing us, and she can tell like we're like our eyes are glazed over. Like there's no way we can afford this, right? So she goes, look, guys, I've got a friend, and he worked for Disney for like 50 years,
No.
and he's retired, and he's got a platinum pass that can get X number of people in per day. And she's like, if you pay him $50, it might have been like $30. It was something ridiculously cheap, like $30, $50, something. He said she said if you pay him that, he'll get you all in on his platinum pass.
Does he have to come
And
with
so,
you?
and I'm like, this sounds really shady,
Yeah.
and I'm kind of freaked out. So, of course, my friend Rob is like, "Oh man, that sounds awesome. Okay,
Oh,
we'll
God.
do it." And I'm like, "Oh God."
Yeah, there's always
So I'm
one
like,
in the
"We're about-
group that doesn't like
yeah.
care.
And I'm thinking we're going to get really ripped off here. Like, this is it. We're going to have like now we're going to have zero money for real. So she calls him and she goes, "Okay, meet out front of the hotel at 8:00 in the morning and bring cash." And
Oh,
I'm like,
boy.
"Oh, great.
Yeah.
This sounds great." So we get up 8:00 in the morning. I was so scared. I had my identification, everything tucked in my sock because I was afraid we were about to get mugged. So we go downstairs, and there's this giant Cadillac in the front parking lot, and there's this old guy that looks like he stepped out of The Godfather,
Oh my God.
sitting behind the wheel. He's got like this hat on, and he's like got these dark sunglasses, and he's like, "Are you boys the ones trying to get into Disney World?" We're like, "Yes, sir. Yes, sir." All right, follow me. So thank God he didn't ask us to get in the car with him. So we follow him. He drives to Epcot, right? We get behind him. He says something to the lady at the parking deck. She waves us through. I'm like, okay, she just waved us through to the parking area.
At least you're in now in the safety of the Magic Kingdom.
Yes. So we get out. We go up to the gate. He goes, "Now you guys are my grandkids." All right, got it? You're my grandkids. I'm like, all right, okay. Now the funny part is Siobhan is Sri Lankan. So
Well,
he does not look at it.
yeah, but you can't ask that.
So
you don't know.
You can't ask that. You don't know, but
Yeah.
but we got this big Italian guy, me, Lily white guy, and then the Sri Lankan guy, and Rob's like more pale than I am. So this was funny. So he goes up to the thing, and I'm like, we're gonna get busted because this guy's probably pulled this scam, and now they know who
And this
he
guy's
is.
got 75 grandkids.
Yeah, he's got. So he goes up there. Sure enough, the girl does not take the ticket. He shows him the pass. She doesn't take the ticket. She walks to go get a supervisor, and I'm like,
Oh,
crap!
boy.
Like we're busted. She goes. I see her whispering something to the manager. The manager's whispering something back to her. I'm like, oh my god. So she finally comes back, and she hands us all park hopper passes.
Oh my
Park
God.
hopper passes. I mean, not single day
those
ticket.
are-
Park hoppers are. And this was before Animal Kingdom, so it was
Yeah, so you got
Hollywood
3,
Studios,
right? 3 parks. Yeah.
Hollywood Studios, Epcot, and Magic Kingdom. Waves us in. We go inside. He sits on a bench, and he goes, "All right, gentlemen, you got your $30." And we were like, "Yep." We hand him the cash. He goes, "All right, now let me tell you." And this guy proceeds to tell us everything about Disney. Like this guy was legit. He worked there for like 40 years or however long it was. He told us, what's the best park to go and which order. Told us all these little secrets. So I neglected to mention that there was a freak cold snap going through Orlando at the time. It was literally 20 some degrees.
Oh my God.
There was nobody at the park. Nobody. So in 2 days, we saw everything in those 3 parks.
It's like a multi-day park hopper pass? No less? Oh.
Yeah. Yes. It was a multi-day. It was for the whole weekend. So for Saturday and Sunday, we got into every park, and it was walk on for every ride. Literally walk on, because the cold front had just driven all the tourists away. And we were literally like running from ride to ride and just hopping right on. And we saw all 3 parks for $30.
Oh my God.
$30, $40, $50. I don't know. Something like it. It was the most magical, crazy weekend I've ever had at Disney. And then we ended up driving back. Like it was like a miracle. Like who would have thought that we would just go down there with no money, no nothing, and somehow have like the best Disney experience that we've ever had. Crazy. Anyway, that was my story.
And it's so funny because that sounded like it could have gone so wrong.
It should have gone wrong.
Yeah.
It should have gone wrong. It was the most crazy.
That
thing.
proves, Tim, that like Disney just still has some magic. Like even like that.
I guess
that crazy guy that probably could have like sold you for the on like some weird black markets.
Like
thing.
we were so being set up for sex trafficking at the
Yeah,
time.
like
It just it could have gone south, but apparently it all worked out. So
I think the only thing that would have
God
made that
rest his
story
soul.
funnier is if like the guy when he walked up to you, he walks up all tough and goes like, "Hey, are you a kid?" Like in a Mickey Mouse voice or something. That would
He
have
was
been
apparently legit because that whatever pass he had got all of us in
wow.
with multi-day
I wonder what all
popper
the
passes
whispering
for
was
free.
about though. Like with the like unless he's so known and so
They had to have.
famous that like they were excited to see him there.
I think they knew what he was doing,
Mm.
and I think they just said just let it slide because these are a couple college kids. They probably knew like they probably knew we had no way. Yeah, they probably figured, you know what, they got this far. Let's just let them in. I
Yeah.
mean,
Or maybe
I
that
feel like
guy's
they
like
knew.
threatened him before.
I don't know. I don't know. Oh man, rest his soul. He can't still be alive now because he looked like he was about 80 at the time. But yeah, thank you for that wonderful weekend wherever you are.
I
Our
kind of
pick of
want to
the
like.
week. That was a
I wish he was like around still. We could interview him on the
I
podcast.
know, I know. Our pick of the week this week is Jaws 3 movie collection 4K Universal Studios. Of course, you know they always leave out Jaws
I know.
original in these box sets. They
I
never
feel
release. That's always their standalone.
yeah, I feel like I was under duress of my own duress picking this one as pick of the week, but
Yeah, this one's 1978, 1987, includes Jaws 2, Jaws 3, and Jaws the Revenge. Will also be released with standalone 4K titles and in steelbook versions. If you don't have Jaws already, like this, I mean, these movies have been released so many times.
yeah.
Um, it does, like Brian said, does lose points for leaving out the best film, but it gets points for Jaws 3 being in actual 3D. Now, it does require, it's not the the anaglyph glasses. You have to have an actual 3D TV, but
Oh,
to
it's
do
that
it.
version.
Yeah, it's that version.
Okay. Well, either way, I get like it's a little sentimental one for me because Jaws 3 was the first movie I saw in 3D in the theater. So it was kind of,
Yeah.
I still remember the trailer for it too. I like that's so crazy that I remember this, but I was sitting in a Nathan's hot dog place, and I remember we were sitting there, and they had a TV playing of, for some reason, it was just playing movie trailers. And I don't know if it was like some kind of early thing where they had a tie-in or something, but it felt like Jaws 3 trailer played like multiple times. And I still remember because it was like the music was dun, and it would show like a long rectangle of of the ocean, and it would go dun, and like a second one came up. And then it would like the third one, it was like dun, 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 it was like Jaws 3 in 3D, and I'm like, I need to see this because I had seen the first two by then, and I loved them both. And my mom's like, all right, we'll go see it, we'll go see it. And I still remember she took me to see it like opening weekend. I had my 3D glasses. I was so excited, and I loved it because not only that, of course, for Tim and I, it was at a theme park, basically, like a
Hmm.
SeaWorld type thing, and. And it's so funny. I had seen that movie so many times, and it was years and years later until I realized Dennis Quaid and the other guy with the kids from the first one grown up. You never thought the connection.
I know. Yeah, I was an adult before I caught on to all that. Like, because I
Yeah.
didn't watch it again from the time I was a kid. I didn't watch it again until I was probably in my 20s. So I had no clue.
Yeah, and I mean
Yeah.
it had like Leah Thompson in it. It had some and Louis Gossett Jr. I mean, it had some cool things, and as hokey as some of the scenes look, and especially they resorted a bunch of times to the 3D like thing of something like, whoa, look at this thing coming right at your face kind of thing.
Yeah.
But overall, I still think it was pretty cool that last sequence when they were all sitting there and they go to the cheap slow-mo, but something about it when you just see this giant shark coming right for that glass. They ruined it by
Oh
making
yeah.
the effect pretty bad, but still, the idea of it was really cool. So
Yeah. I was trying to remember the first 3D movie I ever saw was not this one. It was one we had gone to Tennessee to visit my grandma, and we
is it
had
Metal
stopped at a
Storm?
place. It wasn't Metal Storm. But it was something sci-fi.
Was it that other one that was like came out around the same time as Metal Storm?
Space Hunter: Adventures in the
Space Hunter,
Forbidden
that
Zone.
was it.
That's what it
Yeah, that
was.
was the one. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Space Hunter Adventure and Metal Storm, the Destruction of Jared Sin. They both had
Yes.
subtitles, and those two came out around the same time. And I
Yeah, that
remember
was
I always thought they were the same
83.
movie.
Yeah, no, mine was Space Hunter: Adventures in the Forbidden Zone. That's the one I saw when I was
Yeah,
a kid.
that was a good one though. I remember I think I
Yeah,
saw that eventually when it came on cable, so I didn't get the 3D element of that, but
yeah. So the special features here, of course, is the 4K UHD, Blu-ray, and digital copies. Theatrical trailers. Jaws 3 is, of course, in 3D, and there's an alternate ending for Jaws: The Revenge.
It's
which
funny that they keep releasing things that have the 3D to it, but yet there's no like nobody sells the 3D TVs anymore.
I know. I wish they would just release, and I don't know if it's because there's something that like, doesn't work right, but I know some like the VHS used to do it all the time and put the red blue
Friday the
glasses.
13th set came that way.
Yeah, that's right. And my Nightmare on Elm Street DVD
Yeah,
set
same
came
with
that
Elm
way.
Street.
I don't know
And
why they can't put that on there.
yeah, I don't know if it was just when it came. Maybe when they like, I think they had a 3D version of this already in Jaws 3D, but and I think it was the same thing where they made it. I think it was because originally it came out. It might have came out at the same time the 3D TVs were out there. But like Cone is the only person I know that still has a 3D. Like my stepdad had one, and they bought it, and they never used the 3D thing for it. I think they watched one movie in 3D. We watched, but it's a pain because you had to make sure the glasses were charged and batteries in it, and I just don't know
Yeah,
why they
it's
don't still have, like, do you remember at one point, like, I remember I bought this thing when DVDs first came out, it was like a 3D box set, and it was like that where the glass is plugged into a box, and it had a little converter box, and it was like really early. It was a predecessor to those 3D TVs, and it had each movie was like it had some Elvira one, I think, and then it had like these two other ones that were like theme park 3D movies that you'd go see, like, or like if you went to a 3D IMAX, it like had those movies, and it was like it had a disc of three of those, and it had the glasses. And I'm like, why didn't they just come up with something like in between for everybody? So you don't need to buy like necessarily like a whole 3D TV. Like, come out with like those like the Captain EO ones, like like
yeah, yeah.
the plastic or
Yeah.
Star
I don't.
Tours, something like that. Like, why they're
I
not the
don't know.
red and blue, but they're the at least the same. I don't know.
Yeah, the polarized ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like why couldn't they just do that?
Yeah, I don't know. This one, yeah, that was it for that. So, to recap, July 23rd, we had Kino Lorber's Cannibal Apocalypse from 1980, Nightmare Beach from 89, Confessions of a Serial Killer from 85, The Strangers Chapter 1 4K from this year, The Ruins Unrated from 2008, and our pick of the week, our Jaws 3 movie collection, which is Jaws 2, Jaws 3, and Jaws the Revenge. And those are also all 4K. All right, last week, July 30th. This is always the bigger week, although this one's not as big as typical last week's.
I'm laughing ahead at
Summer.
the first release just because of one of the descriptions in there.
Oh man. Yeah, this was Vinegar Syndrome's. These are the releases for July 30th. Vinegar Syndrome's Criminally Insane / Satan's Black Wedding. This is a
Real
double
quick,
feature.
just make one. I know we've shared it a lot on social media, but when of course they brought up Vinegar Syndrome, of course, like Emily's movie Eight Eyes, the one we raved about, and we had them on for that. That's able to be ordered now. It's going to come on Shutter, but if you want, they have a really good special edition and a regular version. It's only and it's on sale now for 22 or 29. They're taking pre-orders, and they actually Vinegar Syndrome's pretty good with their limited edition ones. They say how many are left. I think they sold 1,000 copies the first day of one of those releases already.
Nice.
So,
Yeah. Yeah, definitely go out and pre-order that. That's a
so
great
yeah,
movie.
sorry. I meant to say it earlier and I forgot, and the Vinegar Syndrome
Yeah.
triggered it. So,
Criminally Insane is from 75 and Satan's Black Wedding is from 76. Of course, this was right up my alley because it's got that 70s like red paint
yeah,
blend
the red,
in
super
it.
bright red.
It's
Yeah.
super bright red. These are newly restored in 4K from the 16 millimeter camera reversal. Criminally Insane is presented in the original 137:1 aspect ratio with the following sound options: original English mono soundtrack, a brand new commentary track by film historians Millie DiCirico. Is that a new one?
Yes,
And
these both are.
Liz Purcell, and an archival commentary track with director Nick Millard and Ermi Millard, moderated by 42nd Street Pete. So we have new film historians.
That's
Brian's got to
that's
tell
the
us
one that
about.
cracks me up, the 42nd Street Pete.
Street.
Because I don't know if you like I grew up member in New York, and I've been in the city when 42nd Street was like 42nd Street Pete was not a guy you wanted to run into, let me tell you. I can just say that. I don't know what he's doing now. Maybe this is a newer version of him and he's just hanging out at the Chevys. But I don't know about that. Yeah, so these are new film historians here. So first of all, Millie DeChirico. So she used to host the fun movie trivia show on G4 named A Million to One, where she'd have extremely tough questions. Record shows nobody ever made it to the final round, though. So
All
she
right,
was it
nice.
really was a million and one shot. So to get that, so stuff. Liz Purchell, though, she's brother. I mean, her brother. I wrote it backwards. Her brother is the film historian Evan Purchell. If you didn't know,
Oh,
Tim, if you remember him, he was the one
yeah.
that like used to go by. He liked to say his name Purchell because it reminded like William Churchill. But anyway, so they try not to let that info be known though, as they don't want to be accused of having a film historian dominion going on here.
True.
Like
Yeah.
like the LaBelle's dominion, with the games and stuff. Second time I threw that one back in here. But anyway, but she ended up getting her own notoriety though, Tim, from her famous blog called Notes from the Perch, where she would review films to one of those like high above, like in business they'll say the 32,000 foot view of the things
Yeah.
like that. So she did that, and basically, so she provides no details whatsoever though. So it's just like, really not much there. So, but still,
These are very intricate. Next up is Satan's Black Wedding, and it's presented in its original 185 to 1 aspect ratio with the following sound options: English mono soundtrack, brand new commentary track by Brian Albright, author of regional horror films 1958 to 1990, and an archival commentary track with director Nick Millard and Hermie Millard, moderated by 42nd Street Pete.
he's back.
Uh,
I think I'm
he's
gonna buy
back.
this just to find out what 42nd Street Pete is up to.
I think he was a victim of what did Giuliani that cleaned up the city down like Times Square or whatever.
Yeah, see,
Did
that's what I'm
he?
saying. I remember it before he cleaned it up, and that's when you don't want to meet
that's
42nd Street Pete.
that's exactly that's right. He
Yeah,
hangs out in Times Square around the around all the X-rated theaters.
yeah, and he's the kind of one that like he's also like they like like the guys on Sesame Street that would stand on the thing and want to buy a W kind of thing. Like, but he wasn't selling letters. Let me tell you,
He wasn't
he
selling
had some other
letters.
things
No.
in that overcoat. You don't want to see any of them.
uh, Remains to be Seen, a featurette produced by the Vinegar Syndrome Film Archive on preserving the films of director Nick Millard. Right out of left field, author Stephen Thrower on Criminally Insane, Satan's Black Wedding, and the early filmography of Nick Millard.
Wasn't
Archival video.
that a Gary Coleman film? Oh no, that was the kid from left field. Never mind. Sorry.
Oh,
Remember
Gary Coleman.
that?
Archival video interview with writer-director Nick Millard on Criminally Insane. Archival featurette with writer-director Nick Millard and actress Priscilla Alden on Criminally Insane. Archival video interview with writer-director Nick Millard on Satan's Black Wedding. Original trailers for both films and inside sleeve artwork.
It's like, what 42nd Street Pete reminds me of? Like that character that Michael Scott did, Prison Mike. Like that, like it would be
Prison
like,
Mike. Yes.
like he would come up. That'd be like a character that like Steve Carell would come up with in there.
Yes.
But
I
that's why
love
I
it.
started laughing because I didn't catch that the first time when I was going through the, and then when I saw it when we were about to read it, I'm like, oh god, this is gonna be a whole new
No.
thing on this show. Anyway, release number 2 is also from Vinegar Syndrome, which this is a good movie. I'm glad this is getting a release actually because this movie was crazy. The Sadness in 4K 2021. That was actually a Shudder original, and I think Joe Bob even did it one night. I think
Yeah, that was a good one.
that is like it's so funny. It's like once again, like I thought I was done with a zombie film, and then this one came out. And this one just like this is a different type of zombie film. Like it wasn't so much the undead; it was basically this disease that went around and made everyone's like worse than them come out, and it was like pretty
It was sort of
intense.
like 28 days later. It was like a rage virus type
Yeah,
zombie
but I mean, it
kind of
was like
thing.
gory and graphic, and
Yeah, very gory.
like that one guy was like over sexualized, so he was just like raping people and slicing out, and eyeballs were coming out. It was nasty. But it was still
Yeah.
it did exactly what it meant to do and like disturb. Um, so this one, it was if you didn't know, that was a young couple trying to reunite amid a city ravaged by a plague that turned its victim into deranged, bloodthirsty sadists. Um, so it has a new feature audio commentary with director Rob Jabaz and composers Star. That's just he's got one name. He's like Madonna.
He's like,
Star.
yeah, Cher or Banana.
Yeah, he's like maybe he knows Cher. I don't know. It says new feature audio commentary with film critic Simon Abrams. So maybe he'll get up there. Again, with the one thing, it says feature audio commentary with director Rob Jabaz and medical advisor Shoo. He's just
Shoe. That's it.
Shoo.
He's just Shoe.
Shoo. I don't know. Hopefully he'll tie everything together. Got to step in the right directions. No, it's spelled shoe differently. It's SHU. It says 4 previously released featurettes. I didn't know there was a version of this, but I guess it was. SFX director, art director, businessman. Okay. New
Okay.
feature, the production. Oh, look at this. New video essay by Sam Deegan, which we would have seen that she was clearly a woman if we would have saw this first. 2 exclusive shorts, Clearwater and Fiendish Funnies, both from director Rob Jabaz. See, that's one of my favorite features when they show like a director. It's like early stuff that will never get
Yeah,
released
I like
anywhere.
those.
Yeah, I like those. Numerous theatrical trailers and a booklet featuring new writing by film critic Brandon Strusing, as well as an exclusive storyboards and a gore guide. Oh,
Gore
that's like
guide. Ooh.
that's like Cody's tome that's coming out, like a civil
Yes.
gore guide. It's just a gore
The Civil
guide.
Gore guide, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, next up, another one from Vinegar Syndrome, The
Yeah.
Ripper from 1985. When a college professor gets hold of a ring billed as once belonging to the infamous killer Jack the Ripper, he finds that powers emanating from the ring turn him into the second coming of the once feared slasher. I don't think I've ever seen this one. I gotta see this.
I thought you saw
This
this
looks.
one.
I don't remember it. I
Well,
don't
there's
know.
also like those like New York Ripper
Yeah,
and like all
I,
these other ones. So it's
I
like,
didn't recognize the trailer at all. So I don't know. I need to watch this one. This
yeah,
one
this
has a
one. Well,
newly.
this was Tom Savini plays Jack the Ripper in it. So
Oh,
I
I
thought
definitely
you
haven't
might have
seen it
saw
then.
this one, but okay.
No.
I know I get it
Uh,
confused. I know I saw it. I just don't remember when I saw it. It was a while ago.
Newly transferred and restored from the best quality archival tape master, presented with the following sound options: original stereo soundtrack, brand new commentary track with producer Linda Lewis and author film historian John Woolley, and an
Yes.
archival commentary track with director Christopher Lewis and composer Rod Slane. Is John Woolley new?
Yeah, he's new. He's new to the film historian game actually too, because he used to own and operate a Chuck E. Cheese like family restaurant called Woolly's Wonderland, and he's currently in a lawsuit against the creators of the Nick Cage film Willy's Wonderland for copyright infringement.
Nice.
Yeah, you know that was
Tom,
coming.
yeah. Tom Savini rips on the Ripper, an interview with actor Tom Savini. Trading Out, an interview with producer Linda Lewis. It's All an Act, an interview with actress Andrea Delis Dernier, formerly Andrea Adams.
She
I
couldn't
would
have
have probably
kept that
stuck.
name for you, right?
I know. I would have stuck with Adams.
Yeah.
On a Knife Edge, an interview Bob Blair, BCI president and son of executive producer Bill F. Blair. Fire music video, original trailer, original video promo, and inside sleeve artwork.
The next one is one I will definitely be buying, and it's so weird to see it say Disney as the release on this.
Disney's the first Omen. You gotta love it. I
Yeah, I
love it.
mean, like you expect it to be like it's one step away from Pixar's The First Omen, you know? It's like,
Yeah.
but and of course we know we love this movie. We did that.
Yeah.
We went over it with our good friends over the Spooky Chicks and Horror Flicks, Emma and Allie, and that was a fun one to talk about too because it was so good. And it's funny like when it came out, like I didn't hear how good it was. I feel like we didn't know how
No.
good it was until we actually got to watch it, you know? Like I didn't hear
Yeah.
much as you expected when it came out. And of course, it's got some good nods for the Chainsaw Awards. And if you didn't know it, though, it's a young American woman sent to Rome to begin a life of service to the church, but encounters a darkness that causes her to question her faith and uncovers a terrifying conspiracy that hopes to bring about the birth of evil incarnate. And I have to say, for a movie like that was going to be a prequel of such a legendary film, they knocked it so out of the park. Like, I don't
Yeah.
think you could have done it much better. But
Yeah. It was great. I
uh,
really liked it.
yeah, and it's got some great features on here. It's got The Mystery of Margaret, joined director Arkasha Stevenson, who's nominated for Best Director, and stars Nell Tiger Free, also who's up for Best Lead. Bill Nighy and Maria Caballero, as they dive into the character of Margaret, her relationship with other characters, and how she's manipulated while trying to solve the film's horrifying mystery. The director's vision. Director Arkasha Stevenson talks about her love of horror films, the opportunity to expand on the Omen legacy, and crafting the first Omen entirely through a female lens. She also describes shooting in Rome, and the cast recounts working with Arkasha. That alone is worth the purchase because those are some of the
I want to see
questions
that.
we asked, and we were fascinated about how good she was and what she went through to go see this. So I'm like, this is such a like. Why was this not the pick of the week? Really, now that I think about it, because
I
this
know.
I think it's because I just know I'm gonna get it, like regardless. So it didn't even like it like so
Yeah.
flew under the radar with pick of the week. So finally, it's got signs of the first Omen. Join the director and talented artists as they reveal some of the symbolism within the set designs and costumes. Learn how the use of practical effects blurs the line between what is real and what is not in the first Omen's terrifying world. So that is a great
All right.
disc, actually.
Yeah. That one looks good. My next one is the pick of the week, so I'm gonna skip that one. And we'll go to one I really want to watch with the kids. This is Wellgo
Yeah.
USA's Sting from this year. Sting spins a web of thrilling terror when 12-year-old Charlotte's pet spider rapidly transforms into a giant flesh-eating monster, forcing the young girl to fight for her family's survival.
I think
I
that's
mean, Charlotte.
intentional that they made Charlotte, because Charlotte's Web.
Yeah,
Charlotte was the
yeah. I
spider,
was about
and
to say that's got to be
yeah.
intentional. Um, this one, I'm not scared of spider movies, so I don't expect to be terrified of this one. But I still want to see it because it's got a kid protagonist, and I think the kids would like that.
I'm not scared of
Um,
the spider movies. I'm just scared of real spiders. So it's like I'll get this like I get this like half like arachnophobia when I watch these spider movies.
yeah, you need to watch Infestation or whatever that one I watched, the
Oh
French
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Yeah. This one has 3 behind the scenes featurettes: creating the monster, the director, and the cast, and also the original trailer.
I feel like this is this going to be like arachnophobia if it was done seriously, because obviously they made that a pure like
Yeah,
comedy, but I wonder if they'll make it a little bit more like creepy. Um,
there's been a lot of
ne-
spider movies lately.
yeah, there is like what, and it like coming from like the last like 5 years, really, and like I think there's been a
Hmm.
lot. Next one is Lionsgate is doing. I saw the TV Glow, which I'm dying to see. This one, I really want to see this.
I
It's
may be watching it tonight, actually.
is it what is it? Is do you have to rent it now? I think you have to rent
Yeah,
it,
you
right?
have to
Yeah,
rent it. Yeah,
yeah.
but I might go ahead and watch it
Yeah,
a
I know.
couple
I'm
times.
gonna have to get it before I vote on the chainsaws because it's in there. It says a classmate introduces teenage Owen to a mysterious late night TV show, a vision of supernatural world beneath their own. In the pale glow of the television, Owen's view of the reality begins to crack. No features on this one, but so that's why I may just I'm like I'm eventually gonna buy this, but if it doesn't even have like a digital copy to it, I may rent it before then because I don't think it's definitely not gonna come out before I can vote for the chainsaws. But I remember like I
Yeah.
have a couple of days on this next trip I have where Julie's in her conference where I'm just pretty much left during the most of the day to my own devices till she gets back. So it's like I already have like I'm gonna buy tickets to see Long Legs on that first Saturday we're there because there's a movie theater like right not too far from our hotel, like in this big like entertainment area, and I already saw that they have uh long legs playing there, so I can buy the tickets now. So I'm probably gonna pick up that. I may like because I don't think I'll get to see Maxine before then, and maybe I'll do a double feature of that and Maxine that day if
Oh yeah, that's
Maxine is there.
perfect.
So yeah, so I'm gonna definitely and so but anyway, my point being is I'll have some time so I could probably rent this there too or something. So
Yeah, the kids want to do a movie night tonight, so I'm definitely going to try to watch either this or Immaculate. I haven't decided
nice, nice.
whichever one they want to see.
Yeah, I have
Uh,
Immaculate. Unfortunately, though, I didn't have a digital copy, so I can't have you watch it on my Vudu or anything, but
so my pick of the week is a big box set from Cauldron Films called The Houses of Doom from 1989, and this includes 4 movies: The House of Clocks, The Sweet House of Horrors, The House of Witchcraft, and The House of Lost Souls. All films come with a new 2K restoration from the original camera negative and a fold-out poster with original artwork by Matthew Therian. Disc 1 is The House of Clocks, has Lighting the House of Time, an interview with cinematographer Nino Celeste, Time and Music, an interview with composer Vince Tempera, Working with a Master, an interview with First AD Michelle DeAngelis, Time with Fulci, an interview with effects artist Elio Terribili, archival interviews, commentary by Eugenio Ercolani, Nathaniel Thompson, and Troy Howarth,
it's like a
which
new
are from
version of this. It's
historians.
like the Italian Stygian witches
I
because
know.
they
Yeah.
replace you. But it's funny they don't mention if they're historians or not. But
Yeah. Yeah,
in that
I
role,
couldn't mark them as historians unless it
no,
says it.
we have very strict
Uh,
rules. If there's one
very
thing we
strict rules.
follow to the letter on this podcast is if they're not listed as historians, we don't say they are.
Nope. Disc 2 is a CD soundtrack, House of Clocks original soundtrack by Vince Tempera and soundtrack artwork by Alexandros Piromalis. Disc 3 is The Sweet House of Horrors, Fulci House of Horrors, interview with set designer Massimo Antonella Galing, Sweet Muse of Horrors, interview with actress Cynthia Monreal, editing for the Masters, interview with editor Alberto Moriani, and archival interviews.
That's how I like to
Disc
say
4 is,
Montreal, by the way, on purpose. I say Montreal. That's the way they say it sometimes, and that's why I like that name, Cinzia Montreal.
yeah, Monreal. Disc 4 is the CD soundtrack to The Sweet House of Horrors, which is again by Vince Tempera and again artwork by Alexandros Piromalis. Disc 5 is The House of Witchcraft, Artisan of Mayhem, interview with FX artist Elio Terribili. The House of Professionals, interview with cinematographer Nina Celeste, and commentary by our Italian Stygian witches Eugenio Ercolani, Nathaniel Thompson, and Troy Howarth. And disc 6 is The House of Lost Souls, working with Umberto, interview with effects artist Elio Terribili. The House of Rock, interview with composer Claudio Simonetti, which he does a lot of Italian
Yeah,
art.
yeah.
And The Criminal Seminar of Umberto Lenzi, career-spanning interview from 2001.
I think we need to
Claudio
get.
Simonetti is like a John Williams of
Yeah, he is like
Italian
the
art.
Italian cinema. Yeah, we need to get Jeff Whitmire to watch the Sweet House of Horrors so he could do like Sweet Home House of Horrors, like a song. Like we
Yeah,
need to get him
there
to
you
do
go.
that.
Perfect. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like
definitely.
already written for him. He just needs to like Watch it and add lyrics. That's it.
Yeah.
My pick of the week is one that I actually purchased already. I have it from Vinegar Syndrome had a cool release of this. And it's by X, but this is the XYZ film version of Feed Me from 2022. And of course, that's our buddies there from the UK we had on who did Host
Hmm.
with an S.
Hosts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then of course Adam Leader, Richard Oakes, and Neil Ward and Samantha Loxley, who we also had on. They star in it, and Neil Ward is phenomenal in it. I think he was snubbed from a chainsaw from this. I said that in our preview show. He was so good in this. Tim, you will absolutely love this movie. So you got to see it. I think it might be on Tubi, so you can probably watch it anytime. So you need some movies for your heart
Yeah.
challenge. There you go. Watch this one. If for those who don't know though, it's following the death of his wife. A broken man spirals into the abyss. An abyss of night tremors and depression, and finds himself in a home of a deranged cannibal who convinces him to take his own life in the most horrific way imaginable. But Neil Ward is like next level good in this. Like when you watch it, you're gonna be stunned. It wasn't talked about more. That's how good he was in this. Um, it's got two commentary tracks. First with writer and co-director Adam Leader and actor Neil Ward. Second with co-director Richard Oakes, who I mentioned previous. Both awesome. All three of those guys are awesome.
Hmm.
Producer Ed Polgardi and composer Benjamin Simons, who also did the fantastic soundtrack to Hosts, which I actually own. It's so good. So he's like like I love that they're like almost like their whole team of filmmakers, like like the same. They get the actors and actresses in there. They get the crew, the directors, all of them together do a good job. And so the music for this is really good too, as well as Hosts had it. It's got three reels from 2022 Beyond Fest, Feed Me, an LA featurette, Contagious official music video, Neil Ward is naked featurette. I think our buddy French Nude Cone would like that one. Uh,
Yes.
and yeah, I almost said linear notes. Liner notes from Jacob Q. Knight.
Very
So yeah,
nice.
that's a fantastic one, and the version I have, I think, has that and some more features on it. I got from Vinegar Syndrome.
Nice. So to recap, the week of July 30th, we had the double feature Criminally Insane, Satan's Black Wedding from 75-76, The Sadness 4K from 2021, The Ripper from 85, First Omen from this year. That's definitely an honorary pick of the week. Sting from 2024. I Saw the TV Glow from 2023. Uh, my pick of the week was the Cauldron Films box set The Houses of Doom from 1989, and Brian's pick was Feed Me from 2022. So that wraps up the month of July. Again, summer months tend to be a little short on releases. Though this was, there were some really good ones in this month.
Yeah, this wasn't
Despite
didn't
it
have
being a
a
shorter month,
lot, but it had quality. I think like there weren't
very.
any
I
of
think it
these.
was the quality.
Like we
Yeah,
like hardly
exactly.
could
I
make
mean,
fun of any of them really.
I know, really. Yeah,
So
this was definitely a very quality. Not a lot of filler in this one.
yeah,
So
this was good,
yeah.
solid economic. They see they're saving months already. They're a pretty good team.
So we will be back next week with the kickstart of our summer slaycation, which
Yes.
is I'm calling it found footage frenzy.
Yes, I like that. That we
And
didn't really come up with an official name. I like that you came up with one.
yeah,
That's a good one because that's what it
and
is. We
which
basically, and when you think about it, found footage franchises, there's not many.
no, you're right. I mean, as far as franchises go, yeah.
Yeah.
So this was a fun one to do, and I'm really having a good time going back through them. I think it's no secret. I think secret's out that the first one's going to be
Yes.
VHS.
VHS,
Um,
yeah, and but which was I think it was a good start because it's like six movies. It's probably one of my favorite found footage franchises. I mean, I guess technically, Paranormal Activity was a big one that
yeah,
that's like no, but we already did that one, and I mean we'll keep the other ones quiet for now. But I think if you probably figure them out. Like we said, there's not many of them, and if we've already done Paranormal Activity in a previous one we have this one now. There's a couple of other ones that there's a couple of found footage ones. There's like one and two. There might be two versions of a movie. Two. I mean, series, but rare that have that. And there's one in here that has a lot, and which
yes,
I'm sure by just saying that you probably guessed it already. If you follow anything we do, but I think we picked four good ones. There's like one where I've only seen the first one, so I'm excited to see that. There's one franchise I hadn't seen any of them, and there's of course another one that's like two of our favorites, I think, are
Yep.
in there. Two, VHS being one, and the other one. I'm sure if you if you listen, you could probably guess which one is our other favorite. I think the only one that I would say and this is an example of one that has two is that House is October Built, which we love both of those, but there's only two. So can it really be
Yeah, it's
considered
hard
a
to build a summer
franchise?
slaycation.
Yeah, I mean, you need at
Yeah,
least I think four, and so that was where the trick to find
yeah.
these came in. But yeah, VHS is fun to go back through because I hadn't seen the original three in a long time. I've seen the first one the most overall, but I like it. And two I haven't seen a lot of, and Viral was, which is funny. I mean, I'll save it for when we go over it. But that one, I thought I remembered not liking it at all, but I was pleasantly surprised it wasn't as bad as I remembered. So be interesting
Yeah,
to talk about.
this is a franchise where none of them are bad,
Yeah,
but
there's not one bad one
I'm
in there.
going through. I don't know how you're doing it, Brian, but I'm going through and I'm actually ranking the segments within each movie. I'll
I
have
was
my
thinking, I
final
was going to
ranking.
ask you if you wanted to do that also because I can go in and do that on those. I only did my
Yeah,
overall ranking, and I have a feeling that now that we delayed it, the recording a couple days, I may go back and revisit it before we actually do the recording of it because, yeah, but I did want to do those segments, and it's funny because the segments are. This is a series that's very interesting because their wraparounds are not always a full wraparound. Like sometimes they're just they intermix with they're not always
yeah.
front and end like some this always comes back. I mean, I know some other found footage ones have done that, but for a franchise like this, and apparently the first three are you find out are kind of connected, and it's almost like they're like split trilogies. It's interesting the way they do that.
I kind of ignored the wraparounds in terms of my rankings. I just ranked the segments because,
Yeah, I
like
think
you
we
said,
should
the
leave the
wraparounds
ranking
are
wraparounds as because one of them doesn't even
yeah,
have a true wraparound. It's just
yeah,
it's like kind of it's just like pieces of technically the bit of one of the segments. They just have a little bit of
yeah. So
things, but
I just ignored the wraparounds and I just ranked the segments, and then at the end I'll rank my overall of all of them. It's
yeah, I
been
may
kind
do
of
that.
fun.
I'll run back in and add my little rankings as we go over each movie. I'll rank the segments.
Yeah, it'll be fun. So
Yeah.
yeah, look forward to that, guys, next week. And we've got our whole. I posted on Twitter and Facebook our entire calendar for the through mid September. So we're gonna have summer slaycation from here on out. We'll obviously have our dismemberments for August and September, and we'll have our 300th episode, which is going to be in sometime in mid August.
And what's crazy to
So
think about is we're so close that when this ends, the slaycation will automatically be probably posting the challenges for the October Horror Challenge already. How crazy
yeah,
is that? How
this year's
fast this year
flying
went.
by.
It
Yeah,
is going way too fast. The fact
yeah,
that I mean I've already had my first pumpkin item, which is crazy because
yeah.
but in my defense, it is a year-round flavor at It's.
It
I
is.
posted that on Instagram if you haven't seen it. It's is people in the Bay Area know what those are. They're basically like an ice cream sandwich, but dipped in a whole thing of chocolate. And instead
Oh
of
gosh.
it's almost like a really crispy cookie versus like a softer cookie kind of thing. So it's really, really good. And they do make a pumpkin one, which Tim, when you come out to visit eventually, we'll make sure you go because Julie and I realized if you just go to the factory store, they have pumpkin year round. So you just go in and you can get it
Oh
because it's hard
yes,
to
that's the
find in
one
the
I would
store.
get.
Yeah, and they had a green tea one, which I didn't know existed, and that one's phenomenal. But pumpkin is really good. And pumpkin is it's up there on my favorite pumpkin items. So the fact that I can get it year round now, just makes me kind of happy.
Very nice.
So
All right, guys. Well, we'll see you back here soon.
see ya.
Take care.